Okay, we are continuing over here in the second principle of faith of the Ani Ma'amins. And just to refresh our memory, we say Ani Ma'amin be'emunah shalema. I believe be'emunah shalema with complete faith. Shahabari yizbarach shemahu yachid ve'en yechidus kamohu. Hashem is unique, and there is nothing in this world that is as unique as Hashem. B'shum panim in any way. V'hu levadai elokeinu. He alone is our God. Ha-Yehovah v'yeh. He was, He is, and He always will be. So we described last week that this concept of the Yechidus, that Hashem is unique, really means that His uniqueness is that He has what He is. He is Me'uchad, He is one. Not that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a very interesting God. That's not what unique means. Unique means that He has achdus, He has total unity inside of Himself. Unlike human beings, we're a composite of many different parts. The world itself has all different things that are going on over here. But every aspect of the Ribbono Shel Olam, of the Master of the Universe, it's all fused together completely as one. And there's nothing, there's no disparateness, there's nothing that is different nothing contradicts in HaKadosh Baruch Hu anything. And this brought us to the very famous question that we addressed last week based on the words of the Ramchal, that if in fact HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really one, and that means that everything is in congruence with each other, and there's no steer, there's no contradiction within Hashem and within the way that He runs the world, so then why do we find over and over and over again in our lives, in the history of the Jewish people, in the lives of our friends, maybe our parents, relatives, people that we are close to, why do we find that their lives are so unstable, meaning that besides all of the good and all of the bracha, the blessings that Hashem brings, we find that there's always a lot of difficulties, and there is sickness, and there's coronavirus, and there is the disappointments in the presidential campaign, all the things that are going on in the world. If Hashem is one, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's oneness means that He's completely good, and He really only wants what's best for Klal Yisrael, and He really wants what's best for the world, so then why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu constantly do things that seem to be a contradiction to His unity and His oneness by making a world that has so much quote-unquote bad that is in it? And if you recall, without going into all of the details, the Ramchal explains that itself can only be understood, which looks to be inherently a contradiction to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you have to understand that is Hashem Himself. And that all those things that are the good, you want to praise Hashem for that? You need to. But even all of those things that are bad, which again look to us as they are bad, we know that there will be a mitzvah. There is a mitzvah for a person to bless the bad just as they bless the good. Why? Because really nothing is really bad. Everything is coming from Hashem. Even those things which look like they are so terrible in a person's life, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what He is doing. And since that He's guiding this world to goodness, and He's guiding your lives that He wants the best for you, He wants you to maximize your potential here in this world. As we've spoken about many times, the only way for a person to maximize the spiritual potential that's on the inside of them is if Hashem will place them in situations that are difficult. If He will put you through the nisyonos, the challenges of life. You're going to ask yourself, where is Hashem? He's right there. Because that He cares about you so much, and He wants so much that you should grow, and you should advance, and you should expand your horizons in the world of ruchnius, of spirituality. That is why Hashem is doing what He does to you. Because He wants to trigger inside of you a response. What is the response? More tefillah, more davening. Look, as we mentioned, all of the imahos, all of our matriarchs, they were barren women. And the Gemara asks, Hashem, how could you make them barren? These are the mothers of the Jewish people, give them children. And the Gemara says, because Hashem is mis'avet tfilas shel tzadikim. Hashem desires the prayers of the righteous. where He needs our prayers. He's sitting around all day long waiting for us to pray. He desires for our benefit, for our sake, that by davening we're going to hit a higher level than we were before. We're going to transform ourselves through our prayers. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts a person in a situation where he realizes he has no place to turn at all except to Hashem, and we daven from the depths of our heart, and we elevate our neshamas as well through that. We become a greater spiritual being in this world. And therefore, what was bad, what we thought was bad, was actually very good. Because had it not been for that situation that we were placed in, there's no way that we would have been able to grow the way that we do. And that's what the Ramchal seems to be saying, that it's not that there are contradictory forces that are in the world. There can't be. Because as we said, Hashem is one, and that His uniqueness is that Ein Od Mavad, there's nothing else in this world besides Hashem. So if you see something that is bad, you have to know that behind everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And even though it looks in your eyes like it's a negative thing, it looks like it's a bad thing, it looks like this person is a wicked person, they're doing horrible things, they might be a wicked person. It's very true that they might be. But you should know that they would not be able to do what they're doing unless HaKadosh Baruch Hu decreed that such a thing is going to happen. Why did He decree it? A litany of reasons why. But at the end of the day, everything is supposed to be for the benefit of ourselves, of the Jewish people. Everything is moving the wheels behind the scenes of creation that are bringing us closer and closer to Yemais HaMashiach, to the days of Mashiach. And therefore, whatever looks in your eyes like it's bad, you have to keep telling yourself it's really not bad. Like we say from Rabbi Akiva said, Kol ma the Ovid Rachmana, everything that Hashem does, Letav Ovid, it's all good. It's all for the good. Rabbi Akiva had a very hard life, a very difficult life. He went through a lot of nisyonos, a lot of struggles. In the end of his life, we know that he's being wrapped, his skin is being combed, and he's being murdered at the hands of the Romans. And suddenly his Talmidim hear him scream out, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And they said, Rebbe, Ad Khan, you're still saying Shema? How do you say such a thing at a moment like this? And he was able to answer, I've been waiting for this moment all of my life. Because it says in the Shema, Ubechol nafshecha. You have to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all of your nefesh, all of your soul. Which means even if Hashem's going to take away your soul, I'm willing to serve Him with everything. Says Rabbi Akiva, every day of my life that I said Shema, I anticipated a moment when I would be able to die on Al Pi Kiddush Hashem with this sanctifying God's name, and therefore I've been waiting for this moment. And I don't look at it as being a terrible tragedy. I don't look at it as being a sad moment in my life. I look at it that I'm fulfilling the absolute will of Hashem right now. And therefore Rabbi Akiva said, everything Hashem does, l'tav, it's all for the good. Now, Baruch Hashem, we're not being combed by metal rakes over here, and we're not at the hands of the Romans where they are killing us and destroying us. So whatever nisyonis, whatever challenges a person goes through in their life, there's limitations of what Hashem is going to send our way. But just like Rabbi Akiva proudly pronounced the word Shema Yisrael at the end of his life because he realized that I'm going to connect myself to the unity and the oneness of Hashem, so too, by each and every one of us, as we'll see in the words today of the Rambam, a person has to recognize that the more that you accept this reality upon yourself, the more that you see this to be true, then there will no longer be moments in your life that are filled with contradiction, because you'll realize whatever's going on, it's all good. It's all from Hashem. It hurts. It's painful. It's challenging. It's not easy. Who said everything has to be easy? Who said that life is fair? It is fair. We just don't always appreciate the fairness that Hashem deals our way. And therefore, everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings into our lives is there as a tool, as a lesson to teach us, to allow us to introspect and see more of the greatness that resides within and become a person who's on a higher level than I was before that. That's not bad. That's good. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about us so much that He wants to elevate us. And we mentioned before, maybe in the Tehillim Shir, that Rav Hirsch writes that if a person sees the nisyonos, the challenges in their life piling up around them, don't get angry at Hashem. The natural thing is to get angry. Don't get angry. On the other hand, you should take it as a compliment, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu would never ever give a person challenges that they are not able to stand up to and to overcome. The more challenging your life is, that is a sign from Hashem that He thinks the world of you. Otherwise, He would not have brought that. So if you see in your day-to-day there are things that are going on that are hard to comprehend, hard to understand, you're not sure what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from you, know that all of those nisyonos, those tests that Hashem is giving you in life, the frustrating situations that Hashem sends your way in life, it's only because He cares about you so much and He sees your inner greatness much more than you know how great you are. And if you respond in the right way, instead of getting angry with God, and you'll realize that everything that Hashem does is one, which means that there's total unity. All of these things that He's bringing my way is only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the God of Chesed, the God of mercy, the one that loves me so much, but He wants me to become better. Then I'll be able to steer through these crooked pathways of life, and I'll realize they're not really so crooked. Yeah, like it says in the pasuk that Darchei Hashem, these are the ways of God. Tzadikim yelchubo, the tzadikim they will go right in those paths. However, shoyim yikashlu, but the wicked people, they will stumble in them. But if the path is clear, so then just go through. Why are you stumbling? And if the path is not clear, how do you end up going through them and not stumble? So Rav Dessler, I think, explains over there in that pasuk that tzaddikim, they're able to see the things that Hashem puts in their way not as a stumbling block, but rather they see it as a way to grow and to go further with confidence and courage and greatness. And therefore, these are the Darchei Hashem, these are the ways of God. Tzaddikim yelchubam, they go straight through them. They travel through them, they become greater. However, the Rishoyim, the wicked, they come into these challenging moments in life, and it's a hurdle. But they're not a hurdle, they stumble over it, and they fall on their face again and again and again. They make terrible mistakes. So our mission, our goal in life is that we are going to try to be like the tzaddikim, who recognize that really whatever challenge is there, whatever bump there is in the road, whatever hiccup there is in our lives, it's all for the good. Everything Hashem does, it's all good, says Rabbi Akiva. Even if they'll take away, even if your neshama is going to be taken away at the end of your life in excruciating pain, it's all good. Why? Because Hashem's guidance and His Yichud Hashem, the oneness, the unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is such that there is no contradiction when He showers you with blessings in your life to when He gives you challenges in your life. It's all coming from the same place. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to become greater and to get closer to Him. Now, that being said, the Rambam writes at the end over here the following words. And he says, V'zeha yisoid hasheni, this is the second foundation that we have over here of the 13 principles of faith. This second principle that we are discussing over here comes to teach us the following, which we say every single day, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Shema, hear, Yisrael, Israel, the Jewish people, Hashem, God, Elokeinu is our God. Hashem, God, Echad, He is one. So this statement, says the Rambam, this encapsulates everything we're discussing right now. This, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself, there's no contradiction in anything that He does. Because Hashem is complete unity and complete oneness. It is all located here in this one simple verse that we are obligated to say in the morning and obligated to say at night. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So I'd like to point something out about this verse over here before we get into a larger discussion. Hashem has many different names, as we know. There are many ways that He presents Himself and expresses Himself to Klal Yisrael. And each one of those names defines a different aspect of who Hashem is. The name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, a Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey, that is indicative of the Midas HaRachamim, of the attribute of mercy, how Hashem runs this world. The name Elokim, which is Elokeinu Elokim, corresponds to the Midas Hadin, to the attribute of justice, of judgment, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu being stricter and harsher with us. So if you want to describe Hashem, so you have, and there's many other names also, but these two names are what we have in our Shema. And it says, Shema Yisrael, listen, O Israel, hear. Now Shema means you have to listen carefully to understand what we are saying over here. If you want to receive the message of the Shema, you have to listen very carefully to what we are saying. We are saying Hashem, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei, which means that's the name of Rachamim. Because we say Hashem is good, Hashem is merciful, Hashem is benevolent, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has compassion on us. That God, Elokeinu, He is our Elokim. He is the God that is the Midas Hadin, that is the attribute of strict justice in this world. So what are you, Hashem? Are you the God of mercy, which we can see that our lives are filled with your benevolence and compassion? Or are you the God of strict justice? Says the Torah in this verse over here, Shema Yisrael, Klal Yisrael, listen very carefully. The same Hashem that is the God of mercy is also Elokeinu, He's also the God of justice. You see a contradiction right now? How could it be that He's the God of mercy and He only wants my good? Then He's being just with me and He's being strict with me and He's being harsh with me, punishes me. How is that the same? Hashem. Now we come back to the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, the word that Hashem is the God of mercy. The same God of mercy that we initially spoke about, who sometimes has to expose Himself as being the God of Midas Hadin, of strict justice. Don't think that He's not the same God. It's the same one, Hashem. Hashem, God, Echad is one. Which means the Shema, when a person is saying Shema, that's really what a person is supposed to be thinking about to themselves. I'm thinking to myself, everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does in the world, everything that transpires in my life, is Hashem, God of mercy. Yes, He's also Elokim, Elokeinu, He's also the God of justice. But nevertheless, I should know, Hashem, mercy, Echad, it's all one. Mercy and judgment, it's all one, says Hashem. I'm the same God. There's no steer, there's no contradiction in myself, in my essence, in my being, in the way that I run the world. You're not happy with the Midas Hadin? Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem Echad, don't worry. At the end of the day, if you play your cards right, if you learn what the messages that you're supposed to learn, if you go through the challenge in a way that is befitting of a person with emunah who has faith and bitachon and trust in Hashem, you will come at the end of the day to recognize Echad, it's all one. And there's no contradiction, and nothing is off the charts of the way that Hashem is running the world. Rather, everything is the complete and absolute unity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings into this world. So that means you have a mitzvah in the morning to say Shema, you have a mitzvah at night to say Shema, which means twice a day you could strengthen yourself in this area, recognizing Shema Yisrael, hear. Doesn't mean these ears, it means you have to hear inside of yourself that everything that is going on in our lives, it's all the Ribbono Shel Olam, and it's all chesed, it's all kindness. Yes, sometimes the attribute of justice dictates that Hashem has to respond to our actions in a way that we might not be so comfortable with. Nevertheless, Hashem, at the end of the day, it's right back to the attribute of mercy, and it's all echad, it's all one. So, yeah.
Just like a parent with a child, right? Sometimes, most of the time, you have the rachamim, your compassion, but sometimes you have to be strict.
Yes,
So
yes.
kind of like
Exactly. It's just that usually a parent doesn't have the capacity or the ability or what we would deem in human terms the cruelty to do such a thing to our children. You would never pulverize your child. You would never smack your child till he has blood coming down his face. You would never torture him to the point that he'll hate you for the rest of your life. You would never do such a thing. Now, there are such parents, but we take those children away and we say, stay away from these kids. You're bad news for this child. And yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu is unlimited on the punishments that he can give over to the Jewish people. So it requires a big level of understanding of that everything that Hashem does, even when it looks like it is cruel, it's chas v'shalom. Hashem's not cruel. Even when it looks like he's being mean to us, God forbid, Hashem is not mean. Even when it looks like he's torturing us, Hashem doesn't really torture us. That means that everything that we are going through is only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to bring about the greatest revelation of who he is in this world. There's a story a famous story, I just read it again recently. There was a group of 50 young men in Auschwitz, I believe, and the Nazi guard who was taking care of them one day, he had one of his moods, and he decides to kill all 50 of these people. Okay? And they begin taking them over to the gas chambers, and they tell them, no, start on disrobing, you're going to take a shower. But everybody knew already by that time. This was not a gym. This was not the locker room over here. This was Rahman al-Litzlan. This was you're going to your death. The gas was going to kill you. Everybody knew that already. As they're walking towards the gas chambers, one of the young men starts saying, Rabbi Isai, my dear friends, he said, we're about to go and die al pi kiddush Hashem. We're going to die by sanctifying HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. And he says, I want to tell you something. Today on the calendar is Simchas Torah. So as we're going to leave this world, let us leave the world the way that a Jew with amunah, with faith should. Let us dance. We don't have a Torah to dance with. We don't have all the people around us, but we have the Ribbono Shel Olam. So let's dance together with the Ribbono Shel Olam. So they go into the gas chambers. The Nazis close the door behind them. And suddenly, these 50 young men, they start singing, Ashreinu matov chalkeinu, how fortunate are we that this is our lot, that Hashem is our God. And they're singing and they're dancing inside the gas chambers. Now the Nazis, Yimach Shemon v'Zichron, they hear singing. And they say, are these people crazy? We're killing them. What are they singing for? So the Nazi opens the door. And he says, what are you doing? You filthy Jew, what are you doing over here? So he says, we are so happy that we are leaving this world the way that we are. Because you and your filthy nation who think that you run the world and think that you can destroy us and you think that you can kill us, we want you to know one thing. You will not take away our spirit. You will not take away our soul. We're going to leave this world in a few moments and we will be reunited with the Ribbono Shel Olam. We're going to see our parents that you killed. We're going to see our friends that you killed. We're going straight back to the source of where we came from. So you will be left to deal with your Gehenna, and we're going to go into Gan Eden. And for that we are celebrating and we are happy. And besides that, it's called Simchas Torah today, the day that we celebrate the giving the Torah to Klal Yisrael. And therefore we are rejoicing that we are the Jewish people. This Nazi got so angry when he heard these words of this young man who said with tremendous amunah and conviction how he felt. He said, oh, now you think I'm going to let you die like this easily? Now I'm really going to kill you in such an evil way. And they turn off the gas from the gas chambers, and he orders everybody out, get back into your barracks over there. I'm plotting now a new way that I'm going to kill you in such an evil, insidious way. You'll see who runs the world. And they put on their clothes and they go back to the barracks. In the meantime, while this Nazi Russia, Yirmach Shemo, is thinking of how it is that he's going to kill this mass murder of these 50 people, suddenly word came in that there was a labor camp that needed like 100 men to come to the labor camp at that time. And the cattle cars come in to take them away, and the people were so schwach, they were so weak already in Auschwitz, that they didn't have 100 people that were healthy. So they come looking around and they find these 50 men that are in the barracks waiting for their death. and they saw that they were young and they were still strong, and they took almost every single one of those young men out, and they put them in the cattle cars and they sent them off to the labor camp. And not a single one of the men that was sent to the labor camp died. They survived the war. There were a few more that stuck around. There was like 8 or 10 more that didn't make it in the cattle cars. Hashem made a miracle. They were all dispersed in different places in the camp over there. Not a single one of those men died during the war. They all survived Auschwitz. Why? Because when you look at the world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running, and you see Shema Yisrael Hashem, the God of mercy, He's Elokeinu, He's our God that also has to be strict with Midas Hadin, but Hashem, but He's merciful, Echad, it's all one. So then you're going to the gas chambers, you're not frightened, you're not crying like sheep going to the slaughter. You are going be'emunah shlema with tremendous conviction. I know that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and if this is what He wants, this is what is supposed to happen, and we will die al pi kiddush Hashem to make a sanctification of Hashem's name, and that will be the way that we leave this world. And Hashem says, Hashem echad, I'm going to have mercy on you right now. You just changed your status. You went from being young men that were about to be slaughtered, about to die in the gas chambers, through your emunah and through your singing and through your dancing and through your conviction and through your tremendous belief that you have in me, you just lifted yourself up to a new level of ruchnius, of spirituality. I'm taking off the death sentence and you're all going to live right now. And every one of those 50 young men, they survived and they lived. This is what we're saying over here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's yichud, the uniqueness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that He is one. He's not two. He's not three. He's not merciful when He wants to be, and he's mean the other time when He doesn't want to be. He's not midas hadin, attribute of justice, or then I'll change my mind, I'll be merciful. No. It's all one. Every time that you see HaKadosh Baruch Hu acting in this world, it's all fused together as one. And the more that a person recognizes and realizes that, so then you start living your life with amunah, shlema, with this pure faith that will carry you through any situation that there is. Now, the Sefer HaChinuch, who is the classical work that we have, it was written by a father to his son for his son's bar mitzvah. Yeah, we get our sons fancy clothes for the bar mitzvah. We give them money. Yeah, we make sure that we take them out to the fanciest restaurants. Tell we're so proud of you, bar mitzvah boy. Look what this father did. This father wrote a book to his son. And the Sefer has become a classic in Klal Yisrael called the Sefer HaChinuch, the book of education, where the father went through all 613 mitzvahs to explain to his son, you're a bar mitzvah. You now have a new responsibility in life. You're obligated in the world of mitzvahs. You should know why you're doing what you're doing. And so not only does he explain what every mitzvah is, but perhaps the most beautiful part of the Sefer HaChinuch is that he gives the deeper spiritual meanings behind the mitzvahs. Because why should you keep a mitzvah if you don't know what you're doing? Why would you be enthusiastic about saying Shema if you have no idea what Shema is? Why would you enjoy sitting on Pesach night, leaning to the side, eating matzah like this, if you have no idea what the real meaning behind the matzah is? So therefore, the Sefer HaChinuch, he has what's called Misharshei mitzvah, the roots of that mitzvah, which always means what's the deeper, spiritual, philosophical, esoteric, a mystical meaning, or not even mystical, what's the deeper meaning behind the mitzvah? So we don't know. The Sefer was found, and with the inscription in the front, how the father is writing over to his son. In his great humility, he did not write his name over there, but it comes from the time of the Rishonim. We're talking about probably about 700 years ago. So he writes the following words. He's talking about the mitzvah of Kriyas Shema. He's talking about the mitzvah of Shema. A person has an obligation to say Shema in the morning and the night. And then he writes, Misharshei mitzvah. The roots of this mitzvah, the deeper meaning of this mitzvah is, Sheratza Hashem lischois imai sheyikablu aleihem malchusei v'yichuda b'chol yom v'layla kol hayom shem chayim. Hashem wants to give us the merit. It's a merit to say Shema. He wants us to have the merit to be able to accept upon ourselves Malchusai, his kingdom, his sovereignty, V'yichudo, and his oneness, his uniqueness, every single day and every single night. Kol hayomim shem chaim, all the days of a person's life that we are alive. Why did he give us Shema? Because he wants us to recognize through the Shema we are accepting the sovereignty and the oneness of Hashem upon ourselves. Ki b'yoysadam bal chaymer, since that we are earthly beings, we are gashmi, we are physical entities in this world. Nifta achar hevlei ha'olam, we are easily seduced and we are easily drawn after the vanities and the emptiness of this world. V'nimshach latavaisav, we are drawn after our desires, and that's a problem, because we were not created to be drawn after this world. We were created to be drawn after Hashem. The Ramchal writes in Mesilas Yesharim that a person should look at their neshama like metal filings, and they should look at HaKadosh Baruch Hu like a magnet. And just like metal filings are drawn after a magnet, so too the neshama is supposed to be drawn after Hashem. Now there's no greater magnet in the entire world than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So how come we're not just drawn after Hashem all day long? It should be such a magnetic pull and force, we should be drawn after Him. And the answer is because we're drawn after so many other things in this world that we have a hard time feeling the magnetic pull and energy that Hashem is drawing us and pulling us in His way. Therefore, says the Sefer HaChinuch, Tzarech al kol panim zichron temidi. Therefore, we need a daily reminder, a constant reminder, the Malchus Shemayim, that there is a king in heaven, and there is an entire heavenly realm, and there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is watching us. L'shamroi minachet, with a person reminds himself of the King of the universe, they will be able to guard themselves from sin. Al kein hayam mechazda lizuchusenu. Therefore, it's Hashem's chesed, His kindness, that He wants to make us meritorious. V'tzivanu lizachrei shnei ha'itim ha'ela bekevo ubekavano gemora. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us 2 times a day that He wants us to affix for ourselves with tremendous kavanah, tremendous intention. Achas b'yom, 1 time during the day. Lahaya lecho ma'aseinu sheb'yom, that will help us. When a person says Shema in the morning, it is supposed to help you get through the day. What kind of help do we need to get through the day? Everybody knows we need help to get through the day. But what does the Shema do? When a person wakes up in the morning and they say Shema, and they remind themselves that everything in the world is the unity of Hashem, u'malchusai, and of His kingship, v'chiashkachasai, His heavenly glance, the way that He's mashkiach, that He's watching over us, v'yechalasai ala kol, and He has the ability to do anything and everything that He wants all of the time. Vayiten el libay, and a person puts into their heart, ki eina pekucha is al kol drachav, Hashem is watching over everything that we do. V'kol sa'adav, and every step that we take. Yispor loy, yispor, it is counted for. Lo yis'ale mimenu davar mikol dvarav. When a person thinks in the morning, Hashem is watching me, Hashem knows where I'm going, HaKadosh Baruch Hu guides the steps of man, so then a person will put into his mind, into his heart, I don't want to desist from anything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking me to do. I'll never be able to conceal any of my thoughts from Hashem, and I certainly can't conceal my actions. Then my mind, my thoughts will be guarded. And I will admit to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when I'm saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that the entire day I am going to be aware of the fact that Hashem is watching and He's guiding and He's listening and He's aware of what is going on in my actions. He's aware of my speech, and He's even aware of my thoughts. What should be in my thoughts? In my thoughts has to be this idea that Hashem echad. Hashem is one. That means that at any juncture in the day, whatever is going on in my life, I'm able to see it's all Hashem. And that way a person doesn't get down, and they don't get angry, and they don't get frustrated, and they don't get sad, because they realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that is guiding everything in this world. He is echad, He is total unity. And then he writes, V'yelo hoidas halayla, b'zegam kein l'mishma kol halayla. And when a person says Shema at night, so then that person will also be able to recognize everything. Nighttime is always indicative of the darkness, the unsure. We don't know what's going on. We can't see everything. Even at night, when it's dark, when it's unclear, when there's unrest, when we don't know what the next day is going to bring, even then I know it's all echad, it's all one HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Fine, a separate point over there. Now, what is the Sefer Chinuch saying? Why did Hashem give us the mitzvah of Shema? You know why? Because if you would allow yourself to conduct your life according to what you believe is the right way, if you would look at the world according to your vision, what you think is going on, you will never be able to see the reality that is in front of your face. And what's going to happen, says the Sefer Chinuch, since that you are a physical being, and you have these desires that are inside of you, and it's so easy to get mesmerized by the world that is here, you will certainly be drawn after the world, and you will forget about Hashem. Therefore, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm giving you a mitzvah. It's called, in the morning and the nighttime, you must say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Why? Because when you do that, you refresh. You know that in the computer over there, when you can't find it, you refresh the page. Oh, the page is right back. Every morning you have to refresh yourself. And every night you have to refresh yourself. Press the button. What's the button? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. What is it teaching me? It's teaching me that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one. And even though that I go through the day, not everything works out the way that I want to. Not everything goes according to plan, because it's not about our plan. It's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu's plan. Right? We just had this I mentioned it, but there was this athlete, Kobe Bryant, who passed away in a terrible helicopter. What a tragedy. What a sad way to leave this world. He is a man top of the universe. He has everything going for him. Billionaire. He's got a wife, he has kids, he's retired at the age of 41 years old. That's even earlier than most of the people in my shul retire these days. 41 years old! And he's got his whole life in front of him. And that, everything is gone. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. A person has to recognize that everything that is going on in this world, in our lives, all of the time, all the Rebbeinu Shalom. Now, when a person lives their life like that, and they think like that, and they examine their life, they realize, like he says over here, how precious and how valuable every single moment of our lives are, because through that we can unify ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when you unify yourself with Hashem, you are in complete achdus, complete unity, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Hashem, and the way that He runs this world as well. And therefore we can elevate ourselves, we can broaden our spiritual horizons, we can look at the world in a different way that's going to carry us through, so that when the pathways of Hashem are in front of us, instead of being like the rasha, like the wicked person, who there's stumbling blocks all over the place, and he just keeps tripping and falling on his face, we use the stumbling blocks as ways to make us greater. There's a concept that we have in Chazal that's called a yerida Litzarech aliyah. Sometimes a person falls for the sake of getting back up, which means that I fell right now, but I'm going to become even greater than I was before. if I trip on something in this world, if I stumble on something in this world, if I have a momentary lapse where I forget about believing in Hashem and recognize all good, and I get angry and frustrated with Hashem, I can use that situation and I could be mechazik, I could strengthen myself, and I could become a greater Maimon, a greater believer in Hashem as a result, because I will recognize I made a mistake. I was short-sighted in the way that I dealt with this situation. I got nervous. We're learning in the WhatsApp in the morning, we learned about pachad v'yira. We learned about fear and anxiety. And it's a terrible attribute for a Jew to have. We don't believe in such things. The only one to fear is Hashem. That's it. Everything else that's going on in the world, if you really believe that Hashem is the one that's controlling everything, why would you ever be upset? Why would you ever get anxious? Why would you ever be afraid? We had a couple of weeks ago, in the middle of the night, I don't know, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, the alarm went off in our house.
Was it Shabbos?
No, it wasn't Shabbos, Baruch Hashem. Hashem only saves for the special people that they can handle it on Shabbos. So the alarm goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just pretended I wasn't hearing it until my wife says, the alarm went off. Go downstairs and see what's going on. And I'm not going downstairs to see what's going on. I'm not going downstairs. Who knows who's down there? So she said, go, you have to go see. I said, I'm not going. I don't know who's downstairs. So she said, okay, we'll go down together. Okay, my wife is very brave because she has the munah. She's not worried about anything. So we're going down. I have to admit, in my katnus of emunah, my smallness of belief and trust in Hashem, everything's going to be okay. I was actually nervous. Now, but I knew that most likely some wind just came. It was a wind, something just triggered it. Anyway, we come downstairs. And we're creeping around every corner of the house over there, and, peeking around to see. And we look on the alarm system. There's just one door that it says is open, and what is it? It's supposed to be the kitchen door. But the kitchen door is completely closed, so nobody's there. Okay, we look around, we go to the rooms. She says, go to the garage. I'm not going to the garage, you go to the garage. So we go to the garage, okay. We go back upstairs, and my wife says, okay, I'm going to put the alarm back on. I said, no, don't put on the alarm. It's going to go off again. She says, no, it was probably just a fluke. I said, please, it's going to go off again. Okay, she puts the alarm back on, go back to sleep. 20 minutes later, woo, 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 the alarm goes off again. She said, go downstairs. No, I'm not going downstairs. So we come back downstairs, and once again we see it's just this door, something must have triggered off, that the sensor is not working the right way. Anyway, that was our experience. Now, what did I learn? I learned that I didn't actually believe that everything is going to be okay. I was nervous, I was scared, I was frightened, I had no idea what's going on, even when I went back the second time. And I knew already that it's ridiculous, it must be the same thing that happened the first time. There was a little bit too much pachad, too much fear and anxiety. We're learning over here that if you believe in Hashem, and you believe that everything is good, God forbid, a person should never go downstairs and find an intruder in the house. But what would be the worst thing? Whatever the worst thing is, Hashem's running the world. So therefore, why should a person, just like those young men, they went into the gas chambers of Auschwitz. They were going to get cremated, to get gassed to death. They didn't go in there with trepidation. They didn't go in there with fear. They didn't go in there nervous. They said, we're going to be reunited with our Creator, and we're going to go out of this world with simcha. That's a person that has true amunah and true faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is what the Sefer Chinuch is bringing down over here. You need to say these words in the morning before you go on your way, because there's so many confusing things that will happen in your life from the moment that you wake up until you go to sleep at night. So many different things are going to happen throughout the day. If you know that Hashem Echad, that God is one, and you accepted that yoke upon you in the beginning of the day, then you will be able to not be drawn after the silliness of this world. You're not going to get drawn after the chomer, the vanities and the emptiness and the physicality of this world. Rather, you're going to be able to function through the day as a person that is doing their best to walk along with Hashem. Yes?
like that, to have that faith is okay, it's good in the United States, but in Cuba, what will those Jews that are there now for 60 years, they have not had food, they have not have anything, they don't know what an apple is or a pear. They have just a few. How can they wake up and say, does it mean that God loves them, but this is the love that they, how can they feel?
Well, look, I'm not there, so I cannot tell you for sure.
Believe
But
me, it was not.
but a person who appreciates life says, even though that my quality of life is not like my brethren who escaped and are living in California, and my life is not like my sister who is someplace else with a nice house and food and the credit card to get whatever she wants, nevertheless, I am still alive. And if a person is alive, that means I can still daven, I can still do mitzvahs, I can still serve Hashem, I can still have amunah, I can still have faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu and unite myself with Hashem. And truth be told, we would never ask for such a life. But the less that a person has in the physical world, the more they are able to immerse themselves in the world of spirituality. So I'm not saying that the life that they have is beneficial, but the fact that they have such little connection to the physical material world, that itself allows them, if they want, if they keep in mind with this type of amunah that they have, if they keep that in mind, they could be someone that becomes very, very close and attached to Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, because they have no attachment to anything else. They're not getting attached to steak. They're not attached to a couch. They're not attached to a new car that comes up for at least every 3 years, and with all the new bells and whistles. They don't even know what that is. What do they know? They know the basic living quarters that they have, the basic food that they get on a regular basis, if it's rationed or something of that nature. So there's no draw after this physical world, which means if they want to, they could actually become extremely ruchnis, extremely spiritual people. All of our forefathers, all of our great leaders of the Jewish people throughout the generations, we find a very common thread with them, and that is that very rarely did they indulge themselves in the physical world. Because indulgence in the physical world equals you will distance yourself from Hashem. Hashem and physicality do not coincide with each other. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is without a body, without any characteristics of a human being, as we're going to see later on in the Yud Gimel Ikrim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is loftier than the entire universe. The neshama itself is not a physical being, it's a spiritual entity. And if a person gets clouded by the physicality and the materialism of this world, that's it, they're going away from Hashem. So Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad means I recognize what's the real intrinsic value of my life. The real value of my life is when I am connected to the Ribbono Shel Olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes it hard sometimes because sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. No, it's all good. It just depends how a person will look. So he brings down in the notes over here in this print of the Sefer HaChinuch, he brings down the Rambam elsewhere. And the Rambam writes, he writes the following, Kavanas ha'avodah isahem, the intention of the avodah, of the work that we're going to do over here, of saying Shema, Zichron Hashem Tamid, is that we should remind ourselves and we should remember Hashem constantly. That's what we're trying to accomplish. The mitzvahs, the Shema. What we're doing over here in this world is we want things to remind ourselves of Hashem constantly. The fear, the awe that we have of Hashem. The love that we have of Hashem. And the fact that we guard His mitzvahs, all of them, sheyamin b'Hashem yizbarach, that it helps us to come to believe in Hashem, mashu echreichi, that He is, obviously He exists, l'kol bal das she'aminu, anyone with just a regular brain in their head, anyone that has a little bit of amunah, a little bit of faith, that looks at the world in a clear way, they will certainly recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is here. Kol elu, all of these mitzvahs, he maisim sheyilamdu deyos mo'ilos. Every mitzvah that we have teaches us how to expand our mind in our awareness and our perception and our closeness that we get with our Kodesh Baruch Hu. V'hakol mavur v'nigla, everything is explained and revealed. Eina yitzarech l'dvarim, I don't need to say anymore, says the Rambam. Says the Rambam, why did Hashem give us so many mitzvahs? Could have just made it easy. 2 mitzvahs, keep kosher, the food is pretty good. Keep Shabbos, you get to take the day off. Why did he make 613 mitzvahs? Because every one is a reminder for the Jewish people that there's a Rebbeinu Shalom, there's a God in this universe, and He's watching down on us, and we are connecting ourselves to Him through the world of mitzvahs. But over here, what we are saying, and we'll end with this idea, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's unity is something that is undeniable. Now, if a person is wavering in that belief, that just means you have to work on it. That just means you have to begin to examine the things that are going on in your life. Even as we mentioned last time, if you think to yourself, sometimes the most trying and painful experiences that a person ever went through in their life ended up being the greatest blessing that ever came their way. How can you explain that? If it was so painful, and if it was so hard, and if it was so difficult to go through, how could you explain that it was good for you? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what He's doing. He knows how to make your life a battleground or a laboratory or an obstacle course of increasing your belief and your ruchnius and your spiritual essence of who you are. So if we keep in mind these ideas that we're saying, that really everything that happens, everything that Hashem does, l'tav avid, sometimes it's mercy, sometimes it's midas hadin, sometimes it's strict justice. Nevertheless, Hashem, who is the God of mercy, echad, it's all one. And we should be zeiche im yetza Hashem to see this unity, to see this oneness, to increase and to imbue inside of ourselves a much deeper level of understanding and awareness and of amun in these areas. And in that way, instead of seeing contradictions in the way that God runs this world, we'll see how everything works together as one. And just as the tzaddikim will walk down the Darch Hashem, Yechubam, they will go in those ways. And they will use the challenges as a way not to fall and not to stumble and not to get angry, but rather to lift themselves up and become greater. Then in that zechus, in Yetz Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch will bring us the ultimate revelation of the Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'mheira B'yameinu.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I just have a comment. I'm sure I made this before, but I learned a long time ago, Rabbi Tiat said that the worst Aveira in the world is anxiety.
Yes, that's very, yes. But the reason is because it shows that you don't really believe in Hashem. It shows that you don't believe in Hashem. Because if I believe in Hashem, I have nothing to be nervous about.
Why were you nervous?
Because I told you, I have to work on my emunah. And so I'm bringing the story as an example.
Isn't it not a normal feeling, even like before you go to have surgery, before you know?
It is normal, but if you recognize I'm in the hands of Hashem, I have nothing to worry about. Does a child who's an infant, who's in the arms of his mother, ever worry about anything? It knows that it's held close to its mother, and the mother is taking good care. Right, so we also have to look at ourselves like that. We are in the hands of Hashem, and no less than a child in the arms of his mother, feeling the warmth and the love and the support, doesn't worry about a single thing. A person that has real amunah and tangible amunah, where they actually see themselves in Hashem's hands, they never have anything to fear or worry about. Okay, something to aspire to, Be'ezus Hashem.
By the way, you said two Shemas. That include the
in the morning and at night. Really, well, the men daven, we daven Mariv, and a woman could say also at the Krish bedtime Shema, the bedtime Shema. Yes.
No, bedtime Shema is different. Right?
Well, we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. There are 3 paragraphs in many Sidurim. There's all 3 paragraphs there. If you say the first paragraph alone, you fulfill the obligation.